Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Thursday, February 6th, just a little bit past 4:30. So we've got one more day of the week. I've got my theme of the day right up here, which I have green continuation. There really didn't seem like there was a ton of themes playing out today, other than a little bit of continuation to the upside. So this is what we have for the week. If you look at the performance, if we want to quickly add that up, that's what about. Oh, why don't we just give the exact here? 131 would be where this was from. Yeah, so we're up 3.8% for the week. So it begs the question, what are we going to get for Fridays? These Fridays, as I probably a few of you have some nicknames for them, but I call them Dud Fridays, and that's just the way it's been the last couple weeks. If we break this apart and just look at the Fridays down 1.8%, that was the worst one that we saw, which was last Friday. I think that's still pretty fresh in traders' minds. Then we also had on 124 down 90 basis points. This was the one up day, which was on the 17th. And you could see a couple other ones, just going back to the beginning of January, so 2020, the new decade. Fridays have been duds. So I don't know, maybe because everybody's expecting it, we get a green day tomorrow. Reminder that we've got Jobs Friday tomorrow. It's the first Friday of the month. Remember, that's always how that works. And so we'll see what we get for that. And then, of course, going into the weekend, clearly the virus is still probably big in the headlines, and we don't really have any resolution to that. So I don't think it's really a place to really add a lot of risk. Do I think we have as bad as a day as last Friday? No, probably not. Remember last Friday, people were really concerned about how China was going to open up and what the story was going to be there. So I think that's a little bit different. And I think, not that we know that much more about this coronavirus, but I think we know that the pace of how the cases and the deaths are basically how they're moving along. So I also liked what Miss Helene Meisler put out. She actually put a poll out. So she was saying, who I voted red, by the way. I guess she had 1,200 votes on there. Will tomorrow be red or green? I voted red, so it doesn't look like maybe people aren't expecting it as much, but nevertheless, I to me it doesn't seem like a great place to put on a ton of risk and to really look for a big upside. Also, I think traders also have to weigh the greed component, right? I mean, I think traders always want more, right? You've kind of wiped the slate clean every day and think, oh, geez, I can make more money. I'm more worried about the downside. That's probably how I have been all week long. I, for one, wasn't expecting. How much did I say that we've been up this week? What, 3.5% or something? So I wasn't expecting plus 3.5% for the week, and I've been. It's funny because I've been positioned long and have added things, but I've been kind of downing it all along the way. But still, I think following price activity and really where, not to like say hindsight 2020, but the support both at the bottom of the value as well as bottom of value and the 50-day moving average really added up, and you got a major bounce off of that. So it is what it is. I'm long in what's called the tactical Tribeca Trade Group portfolio, but I try to lighten up. I mean, I even sold a couple things that I didn't really want to today just to kind of get me back to where I want to be going into Jobs Friday as well as really to the weekend. Remember that if we do kind of commit a little bit and do like some type of retest in here, something like that. It's nice to have that cash available so that you can go in and buy the next dip after one, two, three, four green candles. So that's my major thought. For today and for tomorrow and the weekend. Be nimble. trading wise. I think this week was a gift, so I take the gift and put it in the pocket. So that's and if you've done very well this week, not a bad thing to do is also take some money out of your trading account. That's what really helped me in January. I think when I saw a lot of traders giving back a lot of their profits. And one of the things that we talked about a couple times. I mean, I took money out of my trading account twice in January just to get it out of the short-term account, just so it's not there. To lock it in. So I'm almost at the point. My P&L's right back to 2020 highs. So I'm very pleased with how that's gone. Uh, let's bring up the Nasdaq was strong again today. Remember, it underperformed a little bit. Yesterday's theme was value, and value was fine today, but it wasn't the same type of move that we had yesterday. I was kind of wondering if that was going to continue into today. My thought is always, to have you don't necessarily like have to go ahead and start picking value names. Just pick names that you like, regardless of with their growth or value. Like I'm long a little bit of Procter and Gamble. I looked at the banks today. I didn't take anything in the banks, but there's opportunities in different groups. As I've said before, you don't just have to be a growth investor. You could read the charts as they're given to you, and kind of sometimes have to cover up the symbol to say, hey, this is may not be as sexy as a high growth stock, but hey, if it breaks out, it breaks out. So in any event, what did well today? Aerospace and defense. I capitalized on Boeing. I had a nice day trading day today, so I was really happy because then it also tells me that I just don't have to, you know, day trading. If you manage to make some money day trading and you get out of the trade, you could sleep well at night too. So sometimes I'm a little bit against day trading because I do, go fall back on that. The majority of the moves happen in the overnight market, but this Boeing was really nice, and it continues to move on headlines. It's a great headline name that if you get positive headlines, this name usually moves and it has a little bit of legs to it. And same thing on the downside too. But I think on the upside, it really tends to work out. So I caught some weak. The first headline that we saw, I managed to put on some weekly calls and got in for like $1.30 and out at $4. So I think it continued to go up higher than that, but then there was a negative headline right after that. So I was like, 1 second I was like, oh geez, I left a little money on the table. Next second I was like, you know what, I'm fine. But again, that's how Boeing seems to work right now. This did push the whole group higher. This was something that I tweeted out last night. We talked about it in the room. I did go long this ITA in the Tribeca Trade Group tactical portfolio. So first day of this, really nice move. This was your best performing group today, or at least open to close, as I have it here in my spreadsheet. Maybe not the best. Was up 1.1%. I don't know. Maybe the gold miners were up a little bit more than that. K-Web was also up more than that as well. I'll put that in green over here. But nice to kind of do the analysis and figure that one out. That this group was kind of setting up for a breakout. So really nice. The oil names that were up huge. Remember, XOP was up over 5% yesterday. Well, it gave back some of those gains. So, that's typically how those goes. The pot stocks were also down again. Again, I'm giving myself a little bit of a pat on the back here, but these pot stocks were so pumped on Twitter a couple weeks ago, and I said, I'm not following this. If you catch it for a trade, there's nothing wrong with that. But just the way that they were being pumped, I didn't like. It just didn't smell right. The fact that some guys were really, really pumping the marijuana stocks, and they're right back to where they were. So as I've said before, my methodology is trend trading, and you could trade some of these things for short-term trades, but a lot of times these things go right back to the downtrend. So you have to be very careful with that type of thing. Lastly, just the option activity for the day. There were some interesting ones. Gilead, I did not play this one today, but a couple traders did in the room. A lot of calls, and Gilead, this thing popped pretty decently. Traders were able to make some money. A couple of the solar names, I traded ENPH. Just made a little bit of money with that one. A couple other names that are listed here as well. I also traded some Google today. Again, like I said, and I had some nice trades. Google. We talked about Google in the pre-market session, and I put on just a weekly call spread. And again, I didn't even get the whole thing here, but I think I put on the 1465, 1475 call spread for $3 and was out at like $5. So that's a nice trade. And then finally, the last thing that I traded today was CLDX, or sorry, whoa, what happened with that name? CDLX. I always get the symbol confused. I bought right into here. This worked really well. First time I've traded this one in options before, and just to give you the benefit, they're wide, so you have to be a little careful. When I see really wide option markets like I did in this one, which is not surprising, right? It's a momentum name. Market makers don't want to show tight markets for something like this. But when I see something where the option markets are really wide, it just tells me don't take a big position, because it becomes like the Roach Motel, right? You can get in, but it's really difficult to get out. So you got to be careful with that. And again, I was happy to just trade a few contracts and make some money, because the name ripped from $89 to 94. So very, very momentum name. Better name, I think, to trade in stock. But again, it's $92 stock, so you have to weigh the risk to reward with that. All right, guys. So that's it. I think we covered enough in this video. Have a great night, everybody, and see you tomorrow bright and early in the trading room. We'll go over the jobs numbers as they come out.